let's try to solve this equation, which appears to be quite difficult. So x to the x power equals 2 to the 2048 power. So how do we solve this kind of equation, right? So on the left hand side we have x to the x power. So the base and the power are the same, right? So if we can organize the right hand side into the same kind of format, then we have solved this problem. So how we are going to solve this problem, right? How we can organize the right hand side into some form that's kind of identical to the left hand side. So one of the things that we have to pay attention to is this number 2048. If you know some of the powers of 2, then you probably recognize this particular number. So 2048 actually equals to 2 to the 11th power, right? So 2048 is 2 to the 11th power. If you don't believe me, you can try to factor it, right? You can factor 2. That gives you 1025, right? And then you can keep on doing that, right? And then 2, 56, right? And then 2, 128, right? And then 2, and 64, and then 2, 32, and then 2, 16, and then 2, 8, and then 2, 4, and then 2, 2. If you count the number of 2's, it's going to be 11. So 2048 is equal to 2 to the 11th power. So the right hand side is essentially 2 and then 2 to the 11th power, right? But that's not the same as the left hand side yet. So how we can actually make it the same, right? So 2 to the 11th power is going to be equal to what? It's going to equal to, let's try to do some decomposition of the power of this term, right? So 2, let's see, 2 to the 11th power is going to be what? 2 to the 3rd power times 2 to the 8th power. If you don't believe me, you can try to actually evaluate it, right? So 2 to the 3rd power times 2 to the 8th power, then it's going to equal to what? 2 to the 3 plus 8. That's going to be 2 to the 11th power, right? So 2 to the 11th, the reason this holds is because 2 to the 11th power equals to 2 to the 3rd power times 2 to the 8th power, right? So because of this relation, we have this equation, right? And then what? It looks like we have something that's kind of a close, right? So because we have this thing already, right? So 2 to and then 2 to the 3rd power is what? 2 to the 3rd power is actually 8, right? So this equation is going to equal to 2, and then 2 to the 3rd power is going to be 8, right? Times 2 to the 8th power, right? So what does that equal to, right? What does that equal to? So this thing is going to equal to what? It's going to equal to 2 to the 8th power whole thing, and then 2 to the 8th power, right? If you don't believe me, again, it's this thing multiplied with this thing, right? It's 8 multiplied with this number, right? And then this is the power. So if you expand this particular term, if you expand this this side of the equation, right, then what you're going to get is what? Is going to be this power times 2 to the 8th power. That's exactly this thing, right? If you try to actually go the other way around, right? So now we have organized the whole thing in this x to the x power format, right? And you can sort of see x equals to 2 to the 8th power, and that's the solution of this equation.